Brad, another opportunity to sort of underline a bit of recent improvement.
Yeah, it is really. It was a really pleasing game last week for us. So to be able to back that up is important. But even more so than the result, the way we played and the way we went about it. And sometimes you can do a lot of work behind the scenes, and a lot can bubble away under the surface, but you don't often get reward for those or for that amount of hard work. But we've got to make sure that we keep the foundation of our game solid and keep working really hard, and hopefully more results like last week will come.
And to beat another team who's in a similar spot than you is obviously super important.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I think that I've heard a number of coaches say over the course of this year that the competition's so even now that every game is seemingly a crunch game. So Adelaide, if Adelaide had beaten us on the weekend, they'd be sitting on top of the ladder right now. So instead they're fifth. So each week throws up different challenges, and the results that seem to change the way the season's shaping up. So this week's an important game, but we've got a pretty tough month ahead of us. We know that, but so what we're focusing on really is our work on the track, and that's gone to another level over the last couple of weeks. So we just got to continue to improve that.
But have you learned anything after the Geelong game that can help you avoid a similar slump?
No, I mean I think after the Geelong game, you look at it ends up being a slump, and I'd have to agree with you. I mean we won, what was it, 3 from 8 or something. Yeah. So but you look at the stats, we have won 3 of our last 4, but if you believe what everyone's telling you, that we're the worst team in the competition. So things turn around pretty quickly. We've got to focus on the fundamentals of training and working really hard. And we brought some young players into the side after that Geelong game, and potentially they weren't quite ready for the intensity of playing Sydney at the SCG and West Coast at Subiaco. So we'll stick with the players that have been doing the job for us, even in the losses. And our side, our list is inexperienced, so there will be players come in and come out, but we've got a really healthy list, so we'll pick players on form.
Would have been pleased that the win came on the back of great performances from the younger players.
Yeah.
Atlee, Tarrant.
Yeah.
Can they keep it up?
Oh well, I mean, throughout history, one of the hallmarks of inexperienced players is inconsistency. So that's something that we'll be working really hard to make sure that they keep working on the things that are in their power and in their control. But Robbie Tarrant, it's his 5th year on our list, and he's been cruelled with injuries. And I thought his game last week was terrific reward for effort, because he's been working extremely hard for a long time. So the message to Robbie is really clear: just keep holding up your end of the bargain, keep working as hard as you possibly can, and even if he doesn't kick his 4 or 5 this week, we just want him to compete and give us a contest and bring our smalls into the contest.
Do you reckon you've found a forward structure that works now with Robbie?
Yeah, we've been looking and working on that forward structure for 2.5 years. So, I'd like to say I hope so, but we think Aaron Edwards is still a really important part of our side. But Aaron Black's a really important part of our side, and Cam Pedersen we know could come in and have an influence at AFL level. So one of the challenges we've got is finding that right mix, and one of the challenges for the players is to keep their form up, because we're in the situation where we'll pick the players who have great training form and who are performing at VFL level, and if you're not able to consistently perform at AFL level, there are others underneath ready to take your spot.
If you play those 3 key forwards, Brad, do you think there's room for a second ruckman?
No, that becomes more of a challenge. I think that these days, against certain opposition, I think there's a possibility. But we look at Hamish as being one of those key forwards. So I don't think you can play primarily or solely as a ruckman these days without the ability to go forward. And that is if you choose to play 2 of them. So. But Hamish's form before he got injured was pretty good. So he's a quality player. So again, he just falls into that mix of Black, Pedersen, Edwards. That if they're in form, they'll come in. If they're not, well, others will play ahead of them.
What's his progress, Hamish?
Yeah, pretty good. You can see him just behind you there, doing some running, and we don't anticipate him being right for next week. So it's probably. We're looking at 2 weeks at the moment, but that could stretch out to as long as 4. but the goal at the moment is just to getting back into full training as quickly as possible, and we think that'll probably start next week.
You've got a Twitter policy?
Oh, you have to. I mean, you have to. Our esteemed media expert Heath O'Loughlin runs that program, and if anything happens, we just blame him. So it's
You think you're in good hands?
I think we are. No, I know we are. It's really important that the players understand, and that Twitter is something that's, and Facebook. These things are in the public forum. I mean, they're not private conversations you're having with your mates. And we school the players at North Melbourne on what it is to be a North Melbourne person, and that extends to all forms of communication. And when you're tweeting and you're using Twitter, it's a form of publishing, so it's open for almost anyone to see. So you've got to, we just school our players on being good North Melbourne people, and to act with common sense. And if they do that, they should be fine.
Brad, you've got the ability to elevate another rookie now. Anyone sort of really pushing hard for that?
No, it's not pressing. I mean, we probably wouldn't elevate a rookie until we were ready to play that person. But no, Sam Gibson was elevated, and so we've already done it once this year, and he was, he'll play again this week, so third game in a row. He was the one who was really pressing up. Majak Daw, a few others are playing some reasonable footy, but Majak's had a really interrupted year with injury, so we just want some continuity for him. But he's showing all the right signs of being an AFL player of the future. So, hopefully he can push up for selection later this year, but I wouldn't say it's imminent.
Brad, your record against St Kilda isn't that great. Is that something you look at?
Yeah, it's really my record. Really, it's nothing to do with North Melbourne. It's just, we were close last year. We felt we should have won that game the first time we played St Kilda last year, and we're another year older and another year more experienced, and I think we're really well placed to take it right up to them. But we've got enormous respect for their side. They're just they've got some top quality individuals. Led by Nick Riewoldt and Lenny Hayes. I think they're outstanding contributors to AFL footy, and generally the younger guys follow their lead. So, we've got enormous respect for them. They've given us a hard time in the past, but we're certainly up for the challenge this week, and I know the players are really looking forward to it.